You are now listening to the O.P.O.V podcast.
What's up, Jess? Another week.
Another week.
Episode 14. The year's going kind of fast. How's everything with you?
It's good.
We're going to live again for the second time
I know.
in 2 weeks. Hopefully we could get some people to give us some suggestions of what to talk about. And we appreciate the people that did give us suggestions. We just would want it in our live comments instead of the Facebook page comments or the other social media
Yeah,
comments.
because we can't see those.
So I do want to say congratulations to Kanye West and Kim Kardashian for having another baby. They named him Song West. What?
Yeah, is it a boy or a girl?
I'm pretty sure it's a boy, but
Okay.
don't quote me on that. But I came to the conclusion this morning with the last names like West and Lee, you can't really have a bad name. Like, because at first, like if you just look even Northwest, that's a decent name to me.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah. So it's like, I just think like a simple last name, you can't really mess up the name choice on that. And apparently, I guess Trey Songz got a baby. I didn't really read the article.
Yeah, I saw that post on Instagram where he revealed to the world that he had a kid. Supposedly, I was reading in the comments that the kid's mom is a porn star.
Oh, so he did a Drake.
I guess so.
So he said, "Let me get clean before I start beefing with Pusha T." Huh?
I guess.
So yeah, that's anything new with me. Not really. I'm probably going to try to go to the comedy show tonight. Have a few laughs. Step out the house. Last night I went on search for this burger though. That I really.
How did I know you were going to bring that up?
Really wanted to try. So there was a shortage of the Impossible Burger, and
You said it's called the Impossible Burger.
yes,
Okay.
well the meat's called Impossible. That's
okay.
impossible meat. But long story short, I went to the Burgatory. They didn't have it. They said that there was a nationwide shortage on it, and they don't know when they was gonna get it. We went to Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's didn't have it. And we went to another establishment, and they did happen to have it. And it was the first time I tasted it. It was a great burger. It tastes just like meat. And I'm like the person who's very anti-substitution. Like, it's just, once I figure out there's something missing that doesn't taste like it, I don't want to have it anymore, no matter what it tastes like. But it actually tastes like a real burger. To the point where I'm like, they need to start making steaks out of this stuff.
Yeah, and because I know a lot of stuff. Like people will be like, even if you do like, I think I was into like mashed cauliflower. And they were like, "Well, does it taste like mashed potatoes?"
You're like, no, it
it's
tastes like cauliflower.
It's just mashed.
That's why it's even weird to me. Like, even though it's bomb, like the sweet potato fries, it's just a weird taste. Like,
Yeah, and the sweet potato fries to me, I can't have them with like ketchup or anything.
yeah, exactly. Like, what do you put on them? Butter?
I don't.
like,
I don't know. I mean, I like them plain or with a little bit of salt or something, but I don't.
I used to eat mine with honey mustard.
Oh yeah, because that's like a
Sweet,
type,
tangy, yeah. I used to get them at the hospital a lot. But other than that, I really haven't did anything this week. I've just been working. Same old, same old.
Well, I'm tired because I have spent most of my waking hours binging the entire Game of Thrones series.
Okay.
So I would not advise anybody to binge 8 seasons of anything in like 2 weeks.
When you said that you was already on season 8, I said, I don't know, where's she getting all this time at? That's a lot of episodes.
It's a lot, and everything is
an hour long, right?
Yeah, each episode is an hour long. I think they said there was like an episode in season 7 that was like an hour and a half. I mean, everything is just mashed together for me because I was just watching them back to back to back to back.
You could have taught yourself Mandarin in that time.
Oh my goodness, it was so crazy. I can't believe I did that. I would not advise anybody to do that. But I did like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see the final episode tomorrow.
Oh, so you caught all the way up? Mm-hmm. Wow.
And now I'm interested in seeing like a little more background on the families because the writer of the book, George R. Martin, he's a big fan of R.R. Tolkien, the guy who wrote Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah.
The Hobbit and stuff. So,
Which you could tell to see the influence.
yeah, you can.
But
And
what do you think? How was that episode with the big battle in it? Did you like that episode? The battle of what is it called? The one that just like there was like 2 episodes ago.
the most recent one?
Yeah, like the one where everybody was fighting.
Oh, yeah, that one was really
You like
interesting.
that?
Now, do I need to give spoilers or don't?
What for? I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's caught up that does watch it. I'm not gonna watch it. So
Well, okay, so that was the battle where the living and the dead they had to fight the dead and the my girl Arya Stark came through. I don't even know if we need to spend a lot of time on this because this conversation isn't going to be really that fun because
that's just one sided.
you haven't watched it and I feel so alone in this world right now.
All by myself.
I know.
Well, that's what happens when you decide to do nerd things.
Yeah, but it's cool though. Like, I've been watching Facebook, YouTube videos on like the Targaryen lineage and stuff about how
Yeah, you're speaking. You could keep going because I'm pretty sure.
Mecca,
Hopefully, our listeners.
Mecca just joined. Mecca, you watch Game of Thrones. Can you please help me not have a one-sided conversation with my brother?
Hola, Mecca.
Because this conversation is so like pointless, seeing as though he doesn't watch it. But I was talking about how I binge watched the whole series in like 2 weeks.
You know what I hate? I hate when people that just get into something and they binge watch it and then they feel like that they're like a expert on it.
I do feel like I'm an expert on it now. Like
and they start trying to school
nothing.
you or the person who's late to the party to what's going on. Let me speak to somebody who's been watching this for 8 years. I need to speak to that person.
Well, so
that person that's employed by Best Buy or something.
So what would be the difference?
You did
between the person
notes.
who? How is it the Cliff Notes? I watched what everybody else watched.
You binged it.
So
you ain't get a chance to absorb every episode and by week, not have it ponder on what's going to be the next thing. You would go hour by hour.
But that's worse. But that's why we love Netflix, so we can watch stuff back to back and when we want to at our own pace.
There's a kind of appreciation you have when you have to wait a week for something and then the next episode does turn out to be real good. Like when you watch Power and it's the next episode, it does live up to the expectations that you've been waiting for. But if it's trash, then you'd be like, boy, I'm glad I have to wait a week for that episode.
Well, if it's trash, then I'm like, man, the next episode better be better.
But yeah, there's certain things that, I mean, of course we hate it because we're in the microwave era. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, there is an appreciation you got to have for waiting a week to see something.
Mecca says, I don't feel like an expert, but I enjoy watching. I binged last summer. What is the conversation? I was just talking about how I binged the last 2 weeks of Game of Thrones, and I'm anticipating the episode that's going to come on tomorrow. I'm pretty excited for it, but he's telling me that since I just hurried up and caught up now, I feel like I'm an expert.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do what I was looking at supplemental materials on YouTube, looking at like the lineage of the Targaryens and stuff. It was pretty interesting.
This is like somebody who
sounds nerdy.
Just listened to Ready to Die start telling me about Biggie. Like, yeah, I don't want to hear that from you.
Well, why? They have the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same experience. The binge ain't the same as actually going through it, like the personal experience.
But why?
because it's different. Like you gotta relate to where you was at that time and place.
I hate waiting a week. There's just like I feel like I need more. So the fact that I had access
No, I
and was able
understand.
to
Trust me,
watch the
I'm
next
king of the
episode
binge.
immediately, and then when I got finished, was that Thursday? I got finished. I didn't want to wait until Sunday. I was
I'm
like,
king
okay,
of the
now I need to
binge.
see what happens.
Definitely, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm king of the binge, but I used to do that with Breaking Bad. I would tell people about Breaking Bad like I was
Oh,
the
I did
expert
that with
on
Breaking
that.
Bad too.
But yeah, if I was the person listening to me, I'd be like, get out my face.
So what is it that made you not watch Game of Thrones? It seems like everybody is watching it.
I can't get into like that medieval stuff. I'm telling you, the way I got into Lord of the Rings is actually like a niche. Like I can't get into that medieval stuff. Even like when we learned about it in school, like I can't. It's just
But this
boring
is
to me.
different. This is different. So you did get into Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, but I got into it by mistake. I think I might have walked in on somebody watching it, and it was at a good scene, and so then I went back and watched them. But I tried like to
But
watch
this,
the
to
first
me, this
episode
is
of
more
Game of Thrones.
enjoyable.
But I tried to watch the first episode of Game of Thrones at least 4 times, 4 different years, like 4 different time periods of my life. Mm-hmm. I cannot get past that first episode. It's so slow, and it's all white people. It's just. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that I don't want to watch. Just a whole bunch of talking. The son of such and such, the father such and such. Too many characters. I need 5 characters. That's no characters for me in the
Well,
show.
they did end up adding people of color later on. So, because I think they got a lot of complaints that there weren't very many people of color in the series.
But you know what? I think that do beats. But I could watch shows.
Hey,
where
Uncle Will.
I can't watch shows where it's like white people just with no black people. But it seems like once I get that in my head, it's hard for me to. Because even Sons of Anarchy, I couldn't get into that either.
Everybody said that's a good show. I never watched it.
Yeah, can't get past like, because I'll start thinking to myself like, where is the black people at?
So do we like weekly, or do we like the Netflix strategy of giving everything to the people all at once? I like to be able to binge and watch.
I feel like it's the same as I feel like it hurts the product, but helps the consumer. If that makes sense, because I feel like that's the same with albums. We don't enjoy albums like we did back in the day because they're so easily accessible now.
Yeah, and then with like tapes and CDs and stuff, you had that insert that you pulled out, and you might be able to look over the lyrics and see what they're saying. And
when certain albums came out, they were really classics back then. Mm-hmm. Now somebody might have a great album now, but after like a month or so, we just go on to the next. Who's next?
Game of Thrones is hard. Yeah, it is hard. I'm trying to tell him he needs to watch it.
I mean, I'm not saying it ain't hard. Just like Star Wars is hard. I can't get into that. I don't even know how I even got into this Avengers crap, but I actually like that now. Like I don't do stuff like that. I'm more of a documentary, detective whodunit person.
But if you like Lord of the Rings, I can tell you are going to.
I even like
Game
The
of
Hobbit.
Thrones. And I'm not somebody who's typically into those period fantasies.
Look, and then The Hobbit was dragging too for a while. It took me a while to get into that.
I felt like that as well. No black people, but I enjoyed watching it. Now I have figured out each family. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And this is sort of like the Bible. I feel like it might be overwhelming at first because they're trying to give you the history of things and like it's hard for you to follow along with the names and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that might be a part of it too, but I just lose interest in that first episode. Trust me.
Yeah, like the first episode, they have Daenerys and her brother, and they were exiled and everything. But then when I watch YouTube videos, it gives you like their family lineage and how their family had held the Iron Throne basically for hundreds of years.
All right, so look, I'll promise you guys, I'll try to watch episode 1 again and come back next week and let you guys know if I was able to get through it or not. I'm going to honestly try and really watch the episode.
All right. That's all we can ask.
And hopefully something happens to somebody gets shot with a bow and arrow or something instead of all this talking in the cold weather.
Speaking of, speaking of series and being able to binge, you know what I started and I forgot to get back to it since I got
The act.
immersed in Game of Thrones. No, Cobra Kai.
I'm like 2 episodes from the end of Cobra Kai. Uh,
It was
this
this
year,
season wasn't
this
good.
year ain't the like last year's. Last season was better to me. Even the episodes you watched, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I didn't think it was as good to me, but
I,
I don't know if it was because I was so geeked up to see a reboot of the Karate Kid.
I think they're playing to their fan base too much instead of having it go along. Like they bringing back all the old people. They shouldn't have did that. Like in this, I feel like they should have just had their 2 schools and then came up with different storylines and stuff.
Why? Because the bringing old people back is nostalgic.
That's what I'm saying. They playing
The
on
fan
us.
base is us, like
Yeah, they're
our
playing
age
on us.
bracket.
But I feel like they're beating a dead horse at this point. Now at this point, you're just like they're beating a dead horse. I don't want to see Danny Caruso fight the old man who was the bully that really was bullying both of the kids. I'll just let the two regular adults have their issues and then let the kids have their issues. You don't have to bring in the dude who was fighting Mr. Miyagi or whatever. Don't bring him back.
But I mean, I do plan on watching it again just because I like the first season.
Yeah.
But I think I watched maybe 2 episodes of this season so
Now,
far.
have you caught up on the Twilight Zone?
No. That was good, but I think we talked about before the
The
show's
ending.
good, but the endings
The
just
endings
seems
be
to.
too weird. Like as far as like they just ended like the explanations for stuff be stupid.
But I mean, would I suggest watching it? Sure.
Yeah. The new season of Black Mirror is about to come out too.
I still have not watched that.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Mirror is pretty good.
Which is better, that or Twilight Zone?
I like Black Mirror better just because, yeah, Black Mirror is better. Black Mirror, a lot of stuff that's going on with
And that's on
technology right
Netflix?
now. But it's like 3 seasons already, I want to say.
Okay.
But the stuff that's going on with technology right now is actually implemented like in like the first season of Black Mirror. So like they be on top of stuff. So yeah, I like. There's a couple shows I watch right now that I like. I don't know. Right now, The Shy is probably my favorite show right now that I'm watching.
The Shy is not as good this season to me.
That's what you were saying. You
No.
you said there was too much going on.
No, I mean it's just like I watch it and I'm like, all right.
I like it this year. I think it's dealing with a lot of mental health issues. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of people are discussing mental health and maintaining your mental health these days, which is a good thing because people don't tend to focus on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's real big that we get back to that because a lot of these school shootings are from people who have mental health issues, and not even just the school shootings. A lot of stuff that happened that's like super weird is because people neglect or don't pay attention to signs of mental health.
Now, I think I have a question. Because I think I heard somebody talking about this, and I was like, that's interesting. Do you think that racism in and of itself is something that's somewhat of a mental health issue too?
The abuse or the abuser?
No, just racism, period. Like the whole concept of thinking that you are superior to someone else based on the color of your skin.
I don't think that's well. I guess I don't think it's more so mental health issue more than people struggle with. There's certain people you just can't give power to,
Okay.
and I feel like that's one thing. When somebody has that power over you or over somebody that they don't want to have a balanced playing field, and I feel like a lot of the racism, slavery, all of that has to do with someone just trying to have control over you.
Yeah,
Some
but
type of-
I mean, I'm talking about the concept in and of itself, like the fact that you can look down on another person because their skin is different than yours.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it a mental health thing. You would?
Mm, I wouldn't rule it out.
I mean, yeah, because I think there's just so many denominators that could play a part into that I don't think it could just be one specific thing. Because a lot of that stuff is just hereditary. I mean, like it's generational, handed down.
Yeah.
Because you see it on the black end too. Somebody's 90-year-old granddad, the way they talk about white people.
Yeah.
So imagine the way the 90-year-old person who had their dad served in the Civil War talking about black people.
But at the same time, if you go through years of being mistreated by a certain demographic of people, are you going to have an overall. Like, it's hard for you to
No, I
step
think that
outside of yourself and say, well, everybody's not like that. You know what I mean? You have to.
I think the one being abused, and then again, I'm not playing victim myself, but I think the ones that were being abused does suffer from mental health issues because of PTSD. I think that can be, you know what I mean, and that can be actually handed down too. Just how the way black males are taught to even interact with law enforcement. That's almost like a PTSD that you don't even have to be a part of to, you know what I mean, have.
Yeah, well, I
Because that's
mean,
very traumatic.
but if you're talking about things that are handed down, can you look at the interaction of black males between each other and with black women too? Are those things that.
Yeah. I think mentally, as black males, our stability of our mind is very fragile.
Can you elaborate?
It seems like it's more of a machismo thing. So certain things and certain, even just like going to the doctor and things like that, how it's hard to get a black male to go to the doctor. It's hard to get a black male to submit to anything.
Can
of
you
being
tell me
weak.
what machismo is? I've heard
Like,
the term.
the macho man. I don't need anybody. I'm not sick. I'm doing. You know what I mean? As far as like, I'm okay. I don't need any help. I can stand on my own too and help everybody else out. There's nothing affecting me basically, and I feel like it's basically a pissing contest. Males have pissing contests, and I feel like that right there is a mental health issue to begin with. So if somebody challenges a black male normally, it's rare to find a humble black male who's like, I mean, again, I feel like I'm humble, but I do have days to where if my strength is tested, that I will bite back. But I will say I am more of a humble person. But there's certain males that do have that stereotype to where no matter what you say to them, they're going to go by the stereotype as far as calling women bitches, thinking that they're lower than them, and just doing whatever, to basically make the stereotype true.
Reinforcing it, yeah.
Reinforcing, yeah, the stereotype.
Yeah, because I think you're getting into a little bit of the question that was asked last week and put in the comment. Uncle Will asked, oh, and I hope he's still watching so he can correct me if I'm wrong, but he asked us to talk about the strife between black men and the dormant power that lies within.
Yeah, and that's perfect. Like the our mental state is so fragile that I feel like, and again, I'm no doctor, I don't have a PhD, but this is just how I feel. The mental state is so fragile that we're afraid to be vulnerable to other black males, and we all know the strength is in numbers. It's as simple as that. But we're so afraid of our brother crossing us and taking what we built together as their own that we don't even want to let them inside. And I feel like that's the only thing that's driving the wedge from us being able to be.
Or judging you, maybe talking to other people about, like, let's say if you reveal to your brother that you're not okay, and that you've been dealing with some things and it's hard for you to cope, and then they start judging you.
Or like the machismo thing, I'm like you said, I might not want you to feel like I'm weaker than you now. You know what I mean? But meanwhile, you don't even know what that person's going through.
Yeah, I think like recently, and I'm not a black male, but recently I feel like I'm able to tell whatever about myself because I'm not the only person who goes through things.
And then like you're not even looking at the other person's situation. You can be feeding them information that could be beneficial to them. You know what I mean? A lot of times when you're going through something, the only way you're going to bond with somebody, and it's weird that person might have to bring it up too. Like you might say something that you're going through, and then the person you talking to, like, girl, I'm going through that too, or I've been through that before. You remember when I was having a bad day and I wasn't talking to you? I was going through this, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So it's weird. That's the way we gotta be able to communicate with people, but that wedge somehow has to be broken.
Yeah.
To where we can all come together and you're right, communication. If everybody lives their truth and be able to communicate, we would be stronger.
But does it come down to one simple thing that everybody just wants love?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Mecca's chiming in. Due to the things that we have experienced, the lack of in our lives, the trauma we have experienced or seen, Black people culture do suffer from PTSD. We are traumatized in certain situations that affect us. Absolutely. That affect us tremendously. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, even, for instance, I was thinking about how I had to consciously make the decision to break that chain of even just beating your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us, our parents beat us and their parents beat them, and I'm like, well, that's something that came down from slavery, like getting a switch or getting a belt, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whooping your kids. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't spank my daughter, because I do, but going to lengths like that are a bit excessive. But that's just one example of how there's certain traumas that we could pass down generationally and not even realize that it's something that's adversely affecting your kids. And
now we made it part of our culture.
Or even if you see moms or dads cussing out their kids, like that makes, and when I see that makes me cringe.
For real?
Yeah, but people will cuss out their kids or call them names and not think nothing of it.
Yeah, but meanwhile, you're like, killing my goodness, you're killing that little kid's self-esteem.
Yeah, like you don't even understand.
Can I be the bad guy in the room?
Go ahead.
Some kids' self-esteem need killed.
Why?
There's certain kids that don't need to. Certain kids got too much self-esteem. Some kids do need to be humbled. Just a little bit.
I mean,
I'm not saying every kid. Just certain kids. Every kid's not equal. Can we agree to that?
We can.
Okay.
Some kids are just super terrible. I'm not even gonna lie. But is there a constructive way that you do that? Like, you don't want to be cussing them out. Like,
now, don't get me wrong. There's
effort, blah blah blah.
There's different types of kids, and I'm not saying that. A lot of people might have kids that have too much energy, which I don't feel like that's bad. You just gotta have the.
Mecca, you're saying no. Why?
But like, as far as like kids that got too much energy, I don't consider them bad kids. Because there's really bad kids out there, and something has to be given. Like, certain kids do need beat. I'm sorry.
With a belt?
Yes.
Or a switch?
With a belt, yes. Certain kids do need beat. I'm sorry. I ain't saying they need abused, but certain kids.
But beating them with a belt is abuse.
Now, I will say this. There's a different type of. I'm not blaming the kid on it. Or maybe I'm blaming the parents on it. But at the end of the day, once that monster's created, you do have. I don't want to sound like this, but you do got to kind of tame the monster.
I think me and you talked about this before, and you were talking about kids who are just super terrible, beatings ain't gonna stop them.
Beatings ain't no. I agree.
So-
Beatings ain't gonna stop. That's why I said tame. Beatings ain't gonna stop.
So how do
A
you
monster's a monster, but sometimes that's the only way to calm them down. Like,
So, okay, Mecca saying they have no self esteem. That is the problem. My motto is those bad kids need love just a little harder. Amen, Mecca.
that's cute, but when did they start beating you up? They think because you see it a lot. Man, that happen a lot.
And I don't know necessarily know if I can speak to that because I've been blessed with a kid that's not bad.
And I feel like our upbringings is different. Like there's certain people whose parents ain't shit. And I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying that like as far as there's a lot of kids that don't have any self-esteem and they might be doing the bad things, but they might be just misunderstood. And they do need taking the time. But some people's parents raise their kids to be savages. Like, you know what I mean? Like it probably didn't start with the kid. It didn't even start with the parents. It probably started with their parents or longer beyond that. Like there's just certain people that don't know good and don't know how to raise anything to be good.
Kara, look at y'all fancy.
But do you agree with that?
But that's the stuff that's passed down generationally.
No.
But what is it?
And
is there something within you that's gonna say, okay, this is not right? Like what my parents did to, and we're not blaming our parents, or we're not knocking them for anything, but you just want to make a conscious effort to say, I'm going to do things differently.
But they got to be blessed with the environment to have somebody to say something like that to them. A lot of people just don't change on their own if that's all they know. So you got to have somebody that's in your ear saying the things that you're saying to them. Like a lot of people don't be real with their friends when they're parents. I mean, like as far as like if me and you are friends and you're a terrible parent.
You're right, Mecca. I know love. Everyone doesn't. Right.
But I agree with Mecca too, as far as the kid definitely. And I was kind of being funny when I was saying that they need beat and all that stuff. But I feel like if the kid wasn't getting attention and that's a part that turned him an animal, he do need that love. And it's not his fault or her fault at that point. But what I'm saying too is that it's our job as a community to let these parents know when they're fuck ups. Like,
but how do you do that in a loving way without the person getting defensive and being ready to lash out at you and ready to fight you? Because that could happen.
But now you're being selfish because you're worried about what the reaction is going to be from you telling the truth and what could be possibly affecting this child's future.
Well, not necessarily. You can tell the truth in different ways.
That's what I'm saying. But a lot of friends, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
a lot
you
of
don't
people
want to
have
go
friends
to somebody who say, man, you're effing up.
But a lot of people that has friends as fucked up, like a lot of people has friends
like
that
I
are.
Said, some children don't have parents, and that's a really, and we don't. I don't think I take that into account on a daily basis either.
True, but if you are a friend of somebody who is a parent that's a fucked up parent, it's your duty to let them know they're not being right, they're not doing right. And there's a lot of times where they will just sit by and watch them parent be a fucked up parent, and they're not being a true friend by letting them know.
Yeah, but I think that's easier said than done. Like, folks will just be, ain't nobody telling me about mine and how to raise mine. You understand what I'm saying? So
that's on a normal day, but when they keep getting that call from the school, they got to make a choice: either get their kid shipped to another school. Or...
Mecca, some kids do need shit beat down their legs, no doubt. I believe in whooping.
But you know what I mean? Like, you got to catch that parent in the vulnerable state to where they're like, you can't tell a parent that when they're feeling good or they're angry. You got to tell them when something already happened in real society that kid done messed up doing. Either they got kicked out of daycare or they did something in school.
Well, let me tell you a little story. I know that when my daughter was in daycare, I saw a mom up there telling off one of the teachers at the daycare, and I didn't know that, like, the context of, like, what happened prior to this, and basically I overheard the teacher saying, "Listen, we don't have a problem when your daughter's not here. It's only when your daughter's here that there's instigating in between girls, and then other girls get to fighting and stuff." And then I found out a little background that this had been like the third daycare that this kid had been to.
True story. I think I told you this.
Kara saying you may have to lose a friend then.
True. And true story, I actually lost a girlfriend like that. Her kid was that bad to where I'm trying to tell her about her son, and she's making excuses up for him to the point where I'm like, I'm done trying to tell you because you're just making excuses up instead of trying to fix the issue. So I left her alone. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I know I might not be the best parent, but I know how kids are supposed to be raised. I feel like I was brought up in the household to know what's morally correct and what's not correct.
Yeah.
And with the path that you're leading your kid down, he's thinking it's okay to do things that I know aren't even accepted in society by adults, let alone kids.
What, like talking back?
Yeah, like not even just talking back, like talking crazy, hitting whoever he wants to hit and thinking it's okay. You know what I mean? Like just doing stuff that's going to lead him in the placement instead of, you know what I mean? And I'm like trying to correct it now while he's young, but like you're making up more excuses. And again, it's,
Mecca saying parents in that state of mind don't care. I have worked with children for 20 years, health administration for the AIU. There are those that want help and others that just don't.
Yeah. And I think that's where the mental health definitely is real at. We got to be able to figure out how to crack the ones that refuse to get help. Those are
But
the big,
I mean,
that's the
first
biggest
you got to
issue.
acknowledge that there's a problem, though. They may not see that there's an issue with
And that's
what they're doing.
And that's the stuff that probably was handed down throughout generations that we was talking about. Because there's no way, like you got to have your blinders on if you think some of this stuff is accepted in society. A lot of stuff.
She's saying children are getting kicked out of preschool. That's
swear,
crazy.
I swear,
That's a
she's not
shame.
lying. That's what I'm saying. It's bad out here.
That's a shame, though.
Definitely.
That's a shame. I couldn't even imagine my 4-year-old, 3-year-old getting kicked out of school. Like, that is just like, that would kill me.
But at the end of the day, and it goes all the way back to episode when we were talking about the therapist. Us as black people, we think seeing a therapist is almost like going to go see the cops. I don't know why it's like that, but sometimes you need to free your mind to understand what the issues are inside your mind.
Yeah, and then, like, sometimes you'll hear people say, well, I got whooped and I turned out okay. But
did you really turn out okay?
You might not be okay.
You might be wondering why you be up at night crying for no reason.
Yeah.
Like you're not.
Or there's certain things that you might not see, like even the talking to your kids crazy or beating them.
Beating them because they done wanted that toy that they put in the front of the store.
Right. So
that ain't your kids' fault that they try to stores will manipulate your kids to act bad too. Don't get it twisted. They put stuff in certain places for the kids to act out if you say no.
Kara, if your child is getting kicked out of preschool, your parent or lack thereof is the problem.
Or something's missing. Sometimes a kid can be crying out for attention. It might not be your fault. You can be probably doing you could be doing the best sometimes that you can, but somebody could be missing in their home. There could have been a death that happened. You know what I mean? There's certain things that happen in households that it could be out of the mother's.
Thriving and surviving are two different things, right? And I think that in our community, we do what we can to survive. I think that's the mentality of a lot of people. They're in survival mode, but we want to do what we can to help our children thrive.
Yeah. But you could see it even with the refund checks for the income taxes, like the way people spend those. As far as people spend them to survive, not to thrive. Like you and your homegirl need to take those 9 stacks y'all getting back and get a business or something. create a business, go in a partnership with somebody else you know that's getting back that money instead of y'all going out and spending it, getting stuff y'all can't afford long term. Because you see that every year, people get stuff that's out of their price range.
Well, you know what? I think that there's a couple of things I did this year to make me feel like a new found sense of freedom where I started seeing a therapist and I started doing zero-based budgeting for my household. And it makes me feel so much better. And it builds my confidence like tremendously by doing taking those two simple steps.
But you know what the crazy thing is? That's stuff that somebody should have been teaching you when you was 20 years old.
Right. And we didn't get nothing like that. Hold on, let me see what Mecca's saying. I see white parents want all the mental help and support they can get. And then there's our people who scream, don't label my child, instead of getting the help and support to prepare your child for life. Exactly.
I swear.
Like one of the things that I'm doing is I know that my daughter, she's on the younger end. Her birthday is in late August. So she's one of the younger kids in her classroom. So this year she's going to be 7 going to the 2nd grade. And every year she starts out kind of like struggling to catch up with everybody in the class. So one of the teachers had recommended that she attend this summer camp that they have at their school so that she'll be ready to make a running start. Yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's definitely doing that.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You got to know what tools and resources are available for you, and because there's no reason or no excuse for us not to, as parents, put our kids in the best position that we can.
Kara saying, even if there's a problem at home, it's the parent's job to get to the bottom of it. Seek help for the child. No child is going to say, "Hey, mom, I think I need help." You're right. It's the parents. It's the parents.
Yeah, but the parent can only reach so far though too. Like, I mean, you could get, like, say for instance, if I was like 9 or 10 years old and I had a brother who passed away, my mom or dad probably could only reach me but so much. Even the therapist will only reach me but so much. There's going to be a struggle probably with it for a certain time frame for me to adapt to. You know what I mean? I feel like there's certain things in life you might have, like those experiences that be that dramatic or traumatic that
there are, and there's certain behaviors that you exhibit now at your age that are directly linked to things that happened to you in your childhood and you don't realize it. And those are things that I discovered in going to go see a therapist. So,
but I'm just not trying to say every kid that get kicked out of preschool is the parents' fault. Like, I can't go that far.
Well, why?
Because, like, if something like that is happening, they're acting out, they might act out in school. Like, sometimes a parent can't control that.
Mecca saying absolutely to the man behind the camera. That's my brother, Tav. You want to, I'll flip the camera so you can see him.
But that's how I feel, though. You know what I mean? I can't, because there's so many different circumstances that can happen to where you can have that traumatic experience to where you might lash out a certain type of way and the parents can't reach you.
Yeah, and if there's if the child lost a sibling in that scenario, that means that the parent lost a child. So you're both going through your different journeys. So
yeah. I mean, and at that point, you should try to seek
outside help to help both of y'all.
But there's still probably going to be a period of time where even the therapist ain't going to be able to reach you.
Why?
But by that time, from the first session, probably, I don't know how many sessions it'll take, but the kid's not just going to be healed after the first session.
Oh no, definitely not.
So I mean, I could see a kid getting kicked out of school or a certain school just because of something like that happening.
Mecca saying, "Hey,
how you doing?"
So I mean, but therapy is an ongoing process, and it's like peeling back layers on an onion. So you do have to go to continuous sessions in order to get to the root of certain issues.
But even just going back to Uncle Will's question that he had last week, it all stems back to that. Us as black males and even as black women, we need to come together as a community, because it does take a community to raise our children. Like, the parents need help. And like Mecca said too, it's like there's certain parents that don't want help, and at that point, we just got to make sure that their kids are going to be okay. Because it's okay to parent kids outside of the household. There's kids that used to come over to our house, and I know they used to look at our parents like they were teaching them more than their parents was teaching
Hold on,
them.
Kara saying true. No one will grow up unscathed by life, and I'm not saying every troubled child has a effed up parent, but I am saying if the parent does nothing, it is their fault.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's the one thing we do got to do as Black people. We got to stop being. There's certain things that we can't be victim.
That's true too. She said my mother always said, "Be careful who you have kids by, because genetics are real."
Oh yeah,
that's true.
And I shouldn't even be sharing this story, but I spoke to a parent the other day, and she was saying the exact same thing. She was having her kid. Her kid was only like 3 years old. Had him in behavior health just because she said her baby's dad tried to kill her. Why before the baby was born? Tried to kill her after the baby was born. It was like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what made you lay down with this man? And now she's saying she's seeing the traits in this kid.
Oh,
I'm like,
gosh.
talking about he tried to kill the cat, dude. Like, yeah, like, I'm like, I don't know why you laid down with this man. Sitting there crying to me.
Wow.
I'm like, but that's hereditary. That's definitely true.
My God, it does take a village to raise a child, but everybody in that village ain't always right. Recognize and break cycles. Yeah, that's true. And the first part of it is recognizing that, okay, like I think for me, I felt like, okay, there's some things that maybe in parenting I would do different than my mom. So I had to consciously make an effort and say, I'm going to do this differently. And even in parenting my daughter, there's certain things that, okay, I'm looking at it. If there's certain disciplinary action that I'm taking, if she misbehaves in school and that's not working, we might want to try a different method, because obviously this method isn't working. So let's try something else.
No, but everybody that we're talking to and interacting with is you also, as far as you guys are striving and not, you know what I mean? You guys are building you guys selves up. You're always learning.
We're thriving and not just in survival mode.
There's certain people that they're just stagnant. They're just stagnant.
There is, but
and they're not looking for new ways. They're looking at it like, oh, like you said, my mom raised me this way, and I turned out all right. But really, you didn't, because you're just trying to stay in the same place, trying to wait on that next check, instead of saying, how can I better myself? How can I set my kid up with a better opportunity?
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people are just happy that truancy's not getting called on them and their kids going to school. You know what I mean? But really, everybody don't think the way we think, and we might actually be we're not the norm, basically. You know what I mean? We might be the outliers. That's what I'm saying, of the Black culture. There's more Black people that I feel like they're stagnant than trying to elevate themselves to be better.
Well, maybe, depending on where you live.
And I'm not talking about the younger people. It seems like the younger generations it seem like they're trying to build themselves up to thrive. I mean, the ones that's in the hood that's like our age. I feel like I know more people that's stagnant and just surviving more than trying to elevate themselves.
Or really don't know. When you know better, we do better. Yeah, that's true, Mecca. And I think one of the things that helped me get outside of my box is making the decision to go to college away from home. Because when I was at home, I felt like, okay, well, once I graduate high school, I'm just gonna get an apartment and I'm just gonna get a job and live. I don't think it was until I went to college that made me see other things that other young people who look like me were doing more, and
it motivated you.
Right. I had a lot more motivation to do more things, and I was able to see where my potential could take me.
And see, you just saying that story, people might just dismiss it by saying college, but do whatever motivates you. It doesn't have to necessarily be college. You could be an entrepreneur, whatever you can. Do whatever motivates you to get up in the morning and try to be better than what you was yesterday. Whatever it is.
Kara, just I agree. There are things I allow for my daughter that were never allowed for me growing up. Having the mindset of change is the beginning of thriving.
Swear it
Amen.
is.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And but that's the $1,000,000 question. How do you feel like we can get everybody to that mindset to where we need to change?
Encouraging people, leading with love.
Laying with love instead of critiquing.
Yeah, because there's messages that you can convey to your family and friends and other people in the community in a loving way that will allow the message to resonate versus saying, "Man,
Why you
you're
do it
effed up
that way?
parent."
Yeah, why you do it that way? Yeah, and that's another thing. You got to learn how to talk to people. Encouragement, it
Yeah,
it goes a
surroundings do
long
have
way.
everything to do with mindset, Kara.
Oh,
Absolutely
definitely,
right.
definitely. Like in McKeesport, it's Misery City.
Yeah, and I think there's studies that show that when you like if you placed me in an area with more traditionally successful people like doctors and lawyers, that's gonna make me in turn be more successful than I've ever had versus me being surrounded by a whole bunch of people in the hood who really just don't
Yeah.
see any way out of their current circumstance.
Now, question: have you seen what's going on with the SATs? How they're adjusting that? That's weird. I don't know if I like it. I don't know. They're adjusting your score based on where you live and what type of environment you grew up in and everything like that. So it's almost like
Kara,
they're
people
grading on
think
the
they
scale.
have to have it all together at one time, but it's one step at a time. You're right, Carol.
Yeah, and
Because I don't think anybody has 100% of their life all together.
no, but that's the perception that everybody wants to put, and I think that's the problem with the black person.
And that's the
is
problem
they
with
don't
social media
want to
amplifies
show
it, too.
any chinks in their armor, so they're afraid to show their vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's sad.
But I'm sorry, SATs.
Oh no, I was just saying how they're adjusting it based on your surroundings and where you live at and stuff. And I don't know if you think that's good.
Well, I've heard the standardized testing is somewhat. They say it's somewhat racist. I never was good at standardized
Yeah,
tests,
that's what they were
so I don't know. But I'm just not a good
But I
test
know-
taker in general because I overthink everything.
I know black people that I went to school with that got like a 14.
Right, that is a social
14,
media
15.
effect, Kara. Everybody trying to make everybody think that they have it all together.
It is. It is. You think it's a social media effect or urban culture effect? Because even before social media, rappers and things like that, if you listen to their videos and stuff, you would think that they had the best life ever. And then, like, even like the TLC, they talking about no scrubs, but meanwhile, they can't even afford to pay their bills and stuff like that. When it, like, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a black culture thing more so than social media, and it's just so happened that
Maybe
urban.
not, because now you see that there's more mass shootings. There's more. Well, we're talking specifically with the black culture, though, right?
Well, I just feel
There's more mass shootings. There's more suicides among young people.
yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I feel like the anxiety and depression probably has rose since social media. It's probably terrible,
Karen
especially.
saying standardized testing has been said to be racist, but is this another form of affirmative action?
Yeah,
That's a good observation.
No, and that's what I was asking. Basically, do you guys feel like that? As far as like, how do you guys feel about them trying to adjust the? Because
Well,
basically, they're
how
saying
it-
they're adjusting the black people the way they came out and said it. They didn't say black, but they were saying like the environment you live in, the culture, your upbringing.
Well, I want to know, how are they adjusting it? Like, are they dumbing down the questions, or like what type of adjustments are being made? Because I can't really say one way or another.
Exactly. So I don't know. Maybe the
I have to try to find an article on it.
but that's the article that I seen. It was vague like that. The way that they're just saying that they're going to be changing it. So maybe they don't know as far as the criteria they're going to change it too. I don't know, but I don't know if I like it or not because will it give people another excuse of trying to put the black person down for doing good. Like, oh, he has a.
Well, you know what? I think that in general they need to do away with standardized tests. And I'm going to say this is my own experience. Um, I'm just not a good test taker. I tend to overthink things, and a lot of times the answer is more simple than I make it out to be. I think I said that before, but I've always done terribly on standardized testing. But that doesn't speak to my ability to learn.
Yeah.
I'm very smart, and even like at my day job, I'm considered a subject matter expert in my field. So that doesn't speak to your level of intelligence.
So how
the score that you test on?
So what?
standardized
So how?
testing.
So what would college base their exceptions on there?
I don't. What your overall performance
Throughout high school?
throughout? I don't know. I guess I didn't really think about.
That's
that
the only
part.
thing I was thinking about because I'm with you as far as like it's not needed to show how smart you are, but it I don't know what they would do to change it to as far as like what colleges would actually look at for a student. You know what I mean? That's the only thing.
And I can tell you that in high school I didn't do well, and I think it was because I had a disinterest with the subject matter.
But that's
Once I got
another-
to college, my grades improved a lot.
But that's another thing. That's why I'm saying you can't really base it on just the grades you get at high school because sometimes you could be smart and be disinterested in what you're learning. So I mean, it would be tricky. I feel like if I had
Kara's so funny. Kara says, "Are the questions going to be like, if Johnny bought a zip and gave Susie a dub, how much?"
Hey, Kara, me and you are on the same page. I feel like this affirmative action thing is going. Hey, but no, I swear, me and her's on the
She
same
said,
page.
"I'm not here for that type of bull crap."
Hey, me and her's on the
BS.
same. Me and her is on the same page because I'm thinking this about to get a little too racist. These standardized
Man,
tests
I
about to
don't.
get
I mean,
racist.
I know what a dub is. What's a zip? Like y'all can't
Ouch.
give that to everybody. You know, in
In the black community.
in a low income black community. Like everybody's not familiar with hustling lingo. So
No,
they
but
better
I'm
not
on.
do nothing like that.
I mean, it might not be to that extent, but I can see him doing something dumb like that. Like Johnny went to the basketball game and seen LeBron James play, and he scored 5 times, two shots. How many points did he score? And then the white person's might be, Bobby had 5 pineapples from the grocery store. I can definitely see it like that. They're going to make it more urbanized and try to keep our attention because some of those word questions on the SATs were trash. It's like, I hated English. Why am I reading this long ass math question too?
You know what's so crazy? I think even when I went to college, like I didn't. I'm telling you, I'm not telling a lie when I say I did not do well in high school. But it was like I had the best grades in my class in like English comp in college and stuff like that. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an anomaly. So,
Not really. Do you think it was just a matter of me being able to pick classes that I was more likely to be interested in?
no, maybe.
The environment, I had more freedom.
I feel like you might have had more mature friends in college to where y'all probably.
And my college environment was not as stressful as my home life.
That's what I'm saying. Your home life might have been a little bit different than your college life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when I stayed on campus, I only had to worry about my schoolwork
Yeah.
and all that. My phone's gonna die.
Yeah, mine is gonna die. Also,
If we want to switch places, we can, because you can plug yours into the computer, right?
yeah, if you yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But I ain't got a jack on mine.
Oh well, if you want to go in there and
Get it? Well, there ain't anyone
'cause you-
on there anyway.
oh,
So
well,
we just need to keep talking to Kara and Mecca, and then we can
can you grab my
charger.
yeah,
All right.
and I'll switch places with you. What's we supposed to talk about with that abortion thing?
That would be a good subject. Well, no, I think we might all be on the same page with that. Honestly, that's the only thing about getting 3 people who ain't delusional talking.
Okay, so you want to start it out?
Well,
Talk about what happened as far as the abortion.
well, the governor of Alabama, which is a old,
Bye,
Ca-
Kara. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you.
which is an old Caucasian lady from the governor of Alabama, who I'm not going to disrespect by butchering her name, but she signed off on if you're after an 8-week term, you cannot have an abortion.
Is it 8 weeks or 6 weeks?
Is it 6 weeks? It may be. I thought it was 8. But if it's 6 weeks, oh well. But you can't have an abortion, and if the doctor signs off on it, they will get 99 years in jail if convicted, which is more than if someone raped a woman and had the baby. So you're giving the doctor more than the perpetrator, which is wrong. And then also, like, who's coming up with why is the government playing God?
Well, I think, and then to another thing that's specific to this ban is that they're no longer making exceptions for instances of pregnancy as a result of rape or incest. And all I can say is wow.
Yeah, because I don't know. So in Alabama, they're not, as far as for like rape or incest, they're not giving any exceptions anymore for that.
No.
Okay. So I mean, I feel like we're all on the same page on this. As far as, I don't know if it's because we're up north or what, but yeah, no, a woman should be able to decide what she wants to do with her body.
I think I have a problem with a person's right to choose in any aspect of their life being taken away. I have a problem with that. You should be able to make a choice.
Yeah, even if I don't agree with the choice,
Right.
let's get that one thing. I don't agree with abortion at all, but I do feel like someone should have the choice.
Right. Like people should be able to make choices in regards to any facet of their life.
Yeah, and
taking. I don't believe in anybody having their choices taken away.
exactly. So slowly but surely, man, more and more of our rights are being taken away.
I'm telling you, after I seen, and then it was like 25 men who like signed off on this abortion bill, 25 white men.
But you know what that is?
was
It's
like-
all about, she's probably signing it because she's trying to make sure she get reelected. And that's a shame. That's how.
I want to know if any of you guys watch The Handmaid's Tale, because I'm telling you, this is how it goes down. We will be handmaids messing around like this, and there will be nothing that we can do about it.
Well, luckily I'm a male.
I know.
Ha, ha, ha. But by that time, I'll be dead anyway.
What, by the time we become handmaids?
Yeah, that ain't happening with it. But I don't want my daughter to be a handmaid either.
Well, by the time we become handmaids, I won't be able to have kids no more. But I mean, we still want to protect the rights of our
I ain't
generations that come after us.
I ain't trying to let Muffin and Boogie be handmaids.
This is it's all crazy, but that's the I think that's the problem that I have with people who talk about how your votes don't count. Get out there and vote these people out of these positions.
Yeah.
These old
crazy
school
'cause-
conservatives who have these type of views. Get
Now,
them out of there.
do you be thinking that's propaganda? How we focus so much on the presidency and we don't focus on any other aspects of the voting?
Yeah, because
politics?
before this happened, I didn't hear nothing about it.
Not at
Now
all.
all of a sudden, the same day that the bill gets passed,
Now it's all over the place.
right? So
Yeah. I don't put too much into it because we always see the government do things like that. We as people, though, we shouldn't stand for it. And the white males, this delusional and thinking just because they're Christians. Like I'm not gonna guarantee you that's what it has
no, but
to
there's
do.
white women too.
Because that, like, I don't know what it is about.
You know, a lot of even like Donald Trump supporters were women.
Yeah.
You remember that that one guy he did end up losing. What was it, South Carolina? Was that last year? And they were talking about black women came out and
you talking about the old judge?
Was he a judge?
The one who
No,
they
was he running for Senate? It was something, but they were talking about how a whole lot of his supporters, or the people who supported him in their voting, were a lot of them were white women.
No, I don't know.
So
Yeah, I'm not gonna say what I want to say. Just gonna keep my mouth shut. But it's just yeah, that's a mental health issue right there.
what, voting your party and not your conscience, or
Certain people hate themselves and they just want everybody else to feel bad too.
but it may not even be that deep. It might be, I'm voting for this person because they're a Republican, or
Yeah, probably. I need a charger. Well,
well, do you what do you have a you need an Android charger?
yeah.
There's one that's hooked up to my speaker
right
in
there.
the kitchen.
All right, let me get that. Sorry, guys.
I'm so happy. It seems like we had more of a lively conversation while he's getting his charger. Does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about? Because I mean, I've been immersed in Games of Thrones for the past 2 weeks, so I could have talked about that for 2 hours, but he wasn't going to have that. So
What?
I was just saying how I've been immersed in Game of Thrones for the past 2 weeks, but and I could have talked about that for 2 hours, but you weren't going to be with it.
Yeah, not from a binge watcher.
So since we don't really have any feedback as far as the abortion issue, and you and I seem to be on the same page, like, I don't know.
John Wick came out. You
Oh,
like
it came
John Wick?
out?
Yeah, it came out this
I didn't
week.
even know that there was going to be a 3, but I liked the first 2 a lot.
Yeah.
But it came out when, yesterday?
Uh-huh. You know what's sad though? That my one friend who passed away, I went to go see the other 2 with her.
Oh.
And it's like, I don't know if I want to go see this because it's kind of like, that was our thing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Going to go see the John Wicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like John Wick a lot too.
So, I don't know. I do want to see it though because Holly Berry, I want to say she might be the bad guy on this
Do
one.
you know the what the storyline is going to be for this one?
No. I'm telling you, like, I can't really watch it all like that. I start thinking of her when I be watching that.
I was going to say you didn't, like, read anything about it.
But yeah, I do want to see it though. It's weird. I want to see it and I don't want to stream it. I really want to see it. But I don't know if it's going to be emotional for me. So I don't know if I.
Do you think you should, if just in case, you should go by yourself?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear about your friend. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like she passed away last year out of nowhere.
That is so sad.
Went to the hospital sick. And passed away.
That is so sad.
I know.
Do they know from what?
I didn't get into it all like that. Like as far as after I found out she passed away, I just kind of fell back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's sad. I'm
But
sorry to hear that.
24.
Wow, that's so sad. I'm really sorry to hear that.
But on a better lighter note, yeah. That's coming out. Well, that came out, which that should be awesome. And then also, that Aladdin, did it come out or is it coming out?
I don't know, but I have to take my daughter to see Aladdin.
Did you guys go see Dumbo?
We did.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
I still got to see that.
It seemed like it would be is enjoyable for both parents and kids, because you can see it's kind of emotional. I mean, it falls in line with the cartoon, a lot, but
I don't know if I could do Will Smith as the genie in the lion, man.
I just want to see, I want to see how the finished product turns out. I might regret it, but
those songs don't sound the same when it's humans singing them, though, man. I'm sorry.
Wasn't there humans singing them before?
You know what I mean? It's cartoon. To me, it's hard for me, and that's why I stopped watching the Tyler Perry plays. I love the Tyler Perry plays, but after a while, it was just too much singing.
What I'm wondering, because Will Smith, I love Will Smith, but I don't know if he'll do as good of a job as Robin Williams as the genie.
Robin Williams had that Jim Carrey type of personality, where when you give them roles like that, they come alive.
Yeah.
But Will Smith, I think he'll do a good job. I didn't like the way his makeup is kind of weird to me. It's hard for me to just visualize it as humans. Maybe after I get past that part, I'll be okay.
Yeah, and then they have the live action Lion King coming out in July.
See, I think I'll be okay with that because even the person who plays Aladdin, I was looking at him like, man, this little clown dude.
But he looks similar to the cartoon, though, don't he?
I don't know. Maybe it's because he's a human, man. It's just like he looked like a clown to me. But so it's gonna be hard for me to watch that. But the Lion King, I'll definitely watch that.
Let's do breakfast in a movie with the kids. I think we were supposed to do
With
it
the
with
Lion
Dumbo.
King?
No, Aladdin.
All right. I guess.
We can go to somewhere like Denny's or I don't know,
Eaton
Park and get your
Impossible Burger.
Yeah, we can do breakfast in a movie without our kids.
Well, it's gonna be 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, y'all got an Impossible Burger for me back there?
What else are we gonna? We didn't really have a lot on the docket. I wish somebody would tell us what something else to talk about. But I think you touched on the question from last week.
Yeah, good. We already touched on that. I don't know.
My phone died. That's what it is. I let my battery get down too low.
All right, guys. So we're about to wrap this up. Jess, you got anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. No, I can't think of anything else.
Nope. All right. Well, we can wrap it up. There ain't too much to talk about. We had a good discussion, great discussion. Hopefully next week we can get some more live people. So the whole episode could be questions.
I know.
Love the interaction.
Today, the interaction was great. I have to send a thank you to everybody on Facebook.
Yeah, shout
for
out,
participating in the live. That was awesome. But yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up.
All right, guys. We are very appreciative for you guys to listen to our episode 14. Mm-hmm. We'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll get Jay back. Jay, get better, get well. We love you, and we're out.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening to the O.P.O.V podcast.